You know, in the property management industry, we talk a fair amount about what is it that our owner clients really want? How do we deliver things to them that they want? Do we do surveys and ask them what they want of us? Do we just kind of know what they want? Like, how do we really know what our owner clients wants? Well, I want to share with you information from a recent survey, which was fabulous, that talked about this. It's the 2024 Property Management Trends Report. Now, this report was created by Jordan Moyla with LeadSimple, great company. I'm going to tell you how to get this report a little bit later, by the way, as well as my friend Peter Lohman. If you don't follow Peter's stuff, you have to. He's a fabulous property manager, gives great information. So the two of them got together, along with some additional sponsors, and they said, you know what? Why don't we go survey? Let's use a third party and survey a bunch of property management or property owners and ask them, what do you want of your property manager? Because that would be very helpful to us. And they did it. They completed this beautiful report, which again, I'll tell you how to get here in a few minutes. What is this? 35 pages. It's a glossy, beautiful report with all sorts of charts and graphs in it. And they surveyed about 750 investors. And they asked those investors a series of questions about what they want from a professional property manager. So what I want to do is just walk through some of the things that they talked about that I found kind of interesting and offer some commentary on things that owner clients are telling these surveys that they want, and they're telling you and me that they want from us. So a couple things that they found. This was one of the questions, and it simply said, what are the biggest challenges you as a real estate investor face? We should know that. Like, what are the biggest frustrations and challenges you face? What came in highest at 41% was taking care of maintenance and repairs, to which we all respond and say, yeah, us too. That's the hardest part of property management, maintenance and repairs. 26% said managing tenant inquiries and communication, dealing with the tenant there. The next one down was keeping costs down. Stop spending so much money for plumbers. Keeping up to date with city, state, and laws, and then managing utilities, which we all know. So these are some of the reasons that they potentially want to hire you or me to take care of maintenance, to deal with the tenants, to keep costs down, to keep up on regulations. We should all know those things. Nothing too earth-shattering there. We probably were aware of that. But it's good to know that they're wanting the things that we come to them specifically for. Another question said this: when you're talking to a potential property manager, right, you're thinking of hiring Marc at Grace Management, what are the factors that matter most when you're talking to him? What do you really look at when you're considering hiring Marc? Now, these are some very, very interesting things. Because what do you think if I covered this up and you didn't see it here? Here's what we all think. Well, the most important thing they want to know, which is the first question they all ask, is, what do you charge? That's the first thing they want to know. No, it's not, my friends. That was about number 8, I think, on the list of things. The most important thing, asking them, what's the most important thing? They said, the level of experience. How good are you? How well do you know what you're doing? How experienced are you? That was the number one highest rated thing they're looking for when they're talking to you. Slightly number 2 was reputation, which kind of leads into that. If you've got a good reputation, you're probably experienced. What's your reputation? Number 3 was pricing. So pricing I misspoke a moment ago when I said it was like number 6. It's number 3. They want to be aware of pricing, but that was a little bit lower. Tied for that was knowledge of the local area. How well do you know your area? That's important to know because local area is very, very important that way. Are you licensed by the state? In other words, are you legit? Do you know what you're doing? The next one, are you able to meet in person? Now that's interesting because we're always told by so many people in our industry that they don't want to meet in person. They don't want that at all. Well, they kind of do. It's in the top 5 things of things they're most interested in. Maybe they don't want to even meet in person, but they want to at least be able to have the ability to meet in person that way. Membership in a professional organization. So some things that they're looking for here. Now this next one kind of relates to that. It's a similar question. It says, what are you most commonly evaluated on? What do they evaluate you and me on? Well, a couple things. Number 1, again, it's not pricing. It's PM professionalism. Oh, I could talk about just this topic forever. Because if you've listened to me for any period of time, you've heard me talk about what I think is the best way to set yourself apart from everybody else in your market: professionalism. Professionalism doesn't cost you a nickel, but it's the most effective thing you can do to differentiate yourself. Now, we don't have time in this video to go into what that means, what that looks like. Professionalism is hard to define, but you know it when you see it. We've known this for almost 50 years. That's been a hallmark of what we try to do and what we try to exude to our potential owner clients is we want to come across and be professionals, because you need to trust a professional. You don't trust an amateur. You trust and listen to a professional. That's number one. Tenant satisfaction. Are the tenants happy? Are they sticking around? Best way to measure that is to know your lease renewal rate and share that with prospective owner clients. If your lease renewal rate's high, you can say to those owners, hey, this is so high because we do a great job of taking care of our tenants. Speed of communication. They want quick response times. That's important. Repair costs. Don't overspend their money. Repair speed. Time to lease. So there's the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things there. Another similar question was this. When using a property manager to help manage your rental properties, which of the following, if any, do or did you always want to give final approval for? Okay, so what do you not trust your property manager to do, but you want the final say as a prospective owner? Now remember, these are 750 investors, and here's what they said. They said, I don't want to give my PM the full authority. I want the full authority to approve repair costs over a certain amount. 63% of them said that, which we all do, don't we? We give our owner clients the ability to approve repairs once it exceeds a maintenance threshold, unless of course it's an emergency or something that's required that way. So we can all kind of check that box, but you need to be tight on that. Secondly, tenant approval for a new lease. Oh, that's a big one. 56% of the people said, no, I want the final say on approving a tenant who's going to move into my property. You process them, you pull their information, but then you come to me, property manager, and say, here's the information, and I want to give the final green light to that applicant. Now, I believe all the people in this report were self-managing. So these were not people that already work with you or with me. They're self-managing. So by nature, they are going to be a little bit more hands-on. They're self-managing, and they want control over approval of the tenant. This, to me, my friends, is a deal breaker. We're not going to give a final approval of the applicant to the owner because owner doesn't understand fair housing. We have to be compliant with that. That's our job. That's what you hire us to do. So in my opinion, you need to explain to owner clients why, I'm sorry, Mr. Owner, I know that sounds like a good idea, but let me explain to you why it's not. Let me explain to you how our applicant screening process is so tight, and you can trust us as professionals to do that for you, and we're not going to involve you. Because if you start looking at this and say, well, you know what they want? They want approval, so I better give it to them. That's a mistake. The purpose of this whole thing, to kind of come at it from another angle, in my opinion, isn't to give them what they think they want, but to explain to them what is necessary in order to be successful in the real estate investing business. And one of those things is we screen, we approve the applicants. We don't involve you in that process, Mr. Owner. Lowering the rent if the property is not leasing, half of them want to be aware of that, and the lease renewal dollar amounts when it comes to renewal time. So that's what they want. Now, how would you like this beautiful 35-page report, glossy, in your own hands? Well, my friends, let me tell you how to get that. LeadSimple put this together, and you can get this through them. LeadSimple is the sponsor of this video. They do a great job automating so many of the processes that you and I have. Everything from applicant onboarding or tenant onboarding to owner onboarding to your lease renewal process. All these things that owners say they want, you need to have a process for. LeadSimple makes those processes as automated as possible. They've been around for a long, long time, well respected in the industry, and they do a lot beyond just that. For example, this report. I will put a link in the little notes here. You can see exactly how to go get this video or download this doc here. So we'll link to that in the description here. Click on their stuff, get a demo from them, and get this report. Start following LeadSimple. The data and information they put out to our industry is fabulous. Thank you so much for them for doing this. One more thing that they put out was this. What is your preferred method of communication? How do you like to be communicated to from your owner, from your property manager? Now, without seeing the answer, what do you think they would say? Because we're often told they don't want to talk to you, just text them or something like that. Well, that's not what it said. Number one, 67% want a phone call. And you say, oh, I bet these were all old people, right? Because young people don't like that. No, the data actually showed that in all age categories of owner clients, even the young ones, the majority of young ones still wanted a phone call. Why? Because I believe this is a relationship-based business. How many times do I have to say it? And you can't have a solid relationship through texting. A solid relationship comes through phone calls. Does that mean you call them every single time? No. But when something significant happens, yes, pick up the phone, make the call, establish the relationship. You're a professional. That's what professionals do. They don't always text those things. Secondly would be email. That's their preferred. And this is like listed in order. Most of them want phone call first, then email, then text, then their online portal, and still 25% love the written letter. You should check every one of these boxes. You should have protocol for when to call, when to email, when to text, when to send the annual letter as well. So the big takeaways for me were two things out of this report. Number one, owner clients want, well, you can't see that, can you? They want professionalism. They want you to be a professional. That's number one. And number two, they want solid communication. If you can just hit those two things, my friends, everything else is window dressing. Be a professional. Communicate effectively with your owner clients. If you do those two things, you will give owner clients what they want.